It's 4 p.m. We're bringing you the developing news and the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon. I'm Patrick Paez. Some stories you're watching this Friday, August 2. Maria Cristina Aldeguer Roque is the new acting secretary of the Department of Trade and Industry. She replaces former DTI chief Fred Pascual, whose resignation takes effect today. President Bongbong Marcos says Roque has been, quote, instrumental in leading the MSME development group within the agency. The Philippines and Vietnam will be holding maritime exercises in the South China Sea, according to a report by Agence France-Presse. Citing a statement from Vietnam's Defense Ministry, AFP said that one of Hanoi's 2,400-ton vessels has started to sail on Wednesday. The drills will supposedly cover search and rescue, fire prevention, and fighting at sea. And Senator Bato de la Rosa says he feels betrayed. He will feel betrayed if the government will allow the International Criminal Court into the country. He notes that President Bongbong Marcos has repeatedly assured him that the ICC would not be allowed in. The senator's remarks follow Justice Secretary Boying Remulla's statement that they will not block Interpol from enforcing an ICC-issued arrest warrant over the drug war case. Joining us today, Ana Marie Pamintuan, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star, and Storycon's resident political pundit, Ronald Llamas.
Hi, good afternoon, Patrick, Ronald.
Good afternoon, Ami.
Happy Friday.
Yes. Ami, what do you have for the front pages of the Philippine Star?
Dadagdagan ko lang yung sinabi mo about Senator Bato de la Rosa. He also said, for the first time, he is willing to be interviewed by the ICC. So, yan yung bago. And apart from that, yung final ngayon, that issue about the impounding of 89.9 billion funds of PhilHealth, unused, quote-unquote, it's going to the Supreme Court, final na ngayon, mga mostly medical groups and concerned citizens. And of course, yung sunog nga sa Chinatown, unfortunately, 11 people died, ano? Yung doon sa, anong pangalan nito, yung Holland, yung sikat na Holland tindahan ng mga Chinese pastries mostly and other food items.
Hopia.
Hopia and
Holland talaga. Sa Chinatown?
Oh,
okay.
Sarap ng hopia ron.
Doon ako lagi bumibili ng matchang ko.
Yan.
Holland o Engbitin?
Holland
talaga.
Holland.
Okay.
Ang hopya sa Engbitin.
Yan. Okay. Pero Ami, medyo this is a big development. Senator Bato de la Rosa saying he's prepared to be interviewed by the ICC.
Yes.
Okay.
For the first time. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. In short, he will cooperate with the investigation. This is parang a short hop and skip away from actually testifying.
Parang open siya. Parang open siya na...
Kasi the speculation, Ronald, is that yung limang gustong kausapin ng ICC, limang PNP officers na gustong kausapin ng ICC is, there's some speculation, and we have it from some well-placed sources.
A couple of them are willing to testify against the principal.
So there, yun na.
I would imagine si Oscar Albayalde would be even more willing than Senator Bato.
Right.
Kasi nung kinakausap namin si General Albayalde noon he was actually talking about the human rights and the way the drug war was being carried out. We asked him about it several times.
And they don't really go a long way back with Mayor Duterte. He's not exactly one of the Davao boys. Si General Albayalde. And apart from that, sinibak siya noong panahon ng dating presidente. Pero itong medyo big revelation itong kay Senator Bato de la Rosa because we understand the ties with the former president and also the vice president is quite deep and long.
Yes.
Well, sa ating politika naman, uso laglagan.
Ayun.
Wala naman ditong very deep. Okay. Merong deep, pero walang very deep.
It depends, pero kung ICC na ang kalaban mo, medyo mapapadalawang isip ka.
Hindi lang, maganda naman yung mga preso sa ICC, pero masisira na yung image sa mga anak mo at sa mga apo mo. So, gusto mo namang salvage yun.
Speculation pa lang natin na maglalaglag, ha? Kasi baka naman depensahan niya. Remember, the official version of the PNP is lahat daw yung 6,000 plus na ni-report nila, those people were killed in legitimate police operations. So baka naman, although medyo kung si Bato yan, na-interview na rin natin siya. Ang sabi niya, he has admitted na there were abuses in his own words. Ang pagkakamali daw niya, nagtokhang sila na hindi pa nila nililinis yung PNP. Kaya nagkaroon ng abuses. Ngayon, if that can translate into murder as a crime against humanity, yun ang charge ng ICC, yun ang titignan natin.
I mean, for the record, tokhang loosely translates to knock and ask. So ang original intent ng tokhang, which is a campaign that was embraced or introduced by then PNP Chief Bato de la Rosa, ang pinaka-objective nito is iikot sila sa mga komunidad, kakatok sila sa mga pinaghihinala, mga adik at poser, at pakikiusapan nilang
kusang sumuko,
mag-rehabilitate o itigil na yung kanilang mga
kaso sabi nga ni Ami, naging legitimate.
I think the term eventually evolved to mean to be identified with the killings. Yun,
Yes.
Because with those thousands, sigurado marami doon ang illegitimate.
So
lalo na yung in-expose ni Manny Mugato na yung barel na ginamit sa isa, ay lumipat doon sa kabila at lumipat ulit sa kabila. Naglakad yung barel.
So it did not stop or end with just knocking and asking. Parang it went further than that. Yun ang lumalabas.
At ang kanilang experiment is Davao. Parang sinasabi nila, this was effective in Davao.
And they imported
ginawa ngayon on a nationwide scale. Kaya iba yung iba yung measurement ng ICC Iba yung kanilang ginagawang ebidensya.
Iba yung approach.
Yeah. Well, my understanding, Ronald, with the ICC, since it's just crimes against humanity, ibang scale to, they're not really after the gunman. They're after the leader.
The principals.
Let's call them the leader. The leader who set off this wave of killings in motion. So, ang culpability na hinahandle nila isyong talagang hindi lang nag-utos, pero the one who set it off and who allowed it all to happen.
Kaya nga hindi na sila nag-send ng invitation kay Digong para sagutin yung mga charges sa kanya. Dahil ang tingin ng ICC ay malakas na yung charges sa kanya. Ang pinadala nila ng letter to be interviewed ay yung mga parang implementors.
The 5 generals, the 5 PNP
pero
generals.
Pero yung source, yung principal ay hindi na binigyan.
That's where the speculation is now coming in. Well, speculation that has been confirmed by some sources, by at least one well-placed source. That's where it comes in ang purpose ng ICC interviews na ito with his 5 generals is for the purpose of
baka merong bumaliktad at
mag-testify.
Hindi necessarily si Bato. Hindi necessarily. Pero alam ko may dalawa na open.
So, ganun.
At saka may question dyan kung pwede si Bato na na maging witness lang
dahil principal
siya yung main Kasi actually, ang description sa kanya, siya yung architect Siya yung nag-design ng Siya yung nag-design ng campaign. So, hindi natin malalaman kung pwede siyang maging state witness. Si Oscar Albayalde, nung dumating siya, naging Oplan double barrel na Yung double barrel, ang target nun, yung mga malalaki na. Yung medyo organized na. Kasi naging issue kay Digong yun. Bakit ang pinapatay nyo yung mga penny-ante ng mga pusher lang dyan sa tabi-tabi? Bakit hindi yung malalaki? So pagpasok ni Oscar Albayalde, ayun, in-elevate na nila sa malalaking grupo na. Yun ang pwede niyang sabihin. So baka si General Albayalde pwede, pero si General Bato, although of course the ICC will welcome na he will talk to them, baka kailangan pag-usapan ng masinsin yan. If you can be a witness.
I wonder lang, Ami, what the context of what was the context in which Senator Bato de la Rosa said, that he is willing to talk to the ICC. We're seeing images from the Kapihan sa Senado.
Yes.
Was it mentioned in this venue, in this forum?
Wala pa akong details ng story. Yung summary pa lang nakukuha namin. I'm also waiting for
pero tingin ko,
the
Patrick,
details.
ang purpose niyan is to give his side. at parang sabihin niya
Yes.
sa all and sundry na hindi siya takot.
Ganun yun lang yun.
Oh, ganun yung packaging niya.
Yun lang yun.
Oh, tingin
He
ko
was probably asked and that's what he has said.
Oh, na hindi ako takot. Bibigay ko yung side ko. Bakit hindi?
It doesn't indicate that he is actually open to
Yes. Baka yung mga tahimik pa nga ang open.
Yun.
Yung mga may ingay ay just giving their position,
Yes.
just changing the narrative. Ito yung narrative ko. Pero yung mga tahimik, yun yung pwedeng tumestigo. No? Halimbawa, Las Cañas, head ng Davao Death Squad, siya yung main doon, pero hindi siya architect, hindi siya principal. Pwede siya mag-testify. Matubato, hitman.
He is the main accuser.
Di ba? So, pwede siya mag-testify. Kahit meron siya mga pinatay. At hindi ko sinasabi
Matubato
na...
and Las Cañas, who were hitmen, who are actually people who pull the triggers, they are actually the main witnesses of the ICC in this case.
Yes. At si Las Cañas, hindi lang siya hitman. Siya yung nag-i-implement ng mga nilista na hit. No? May boss pa siya, pero siya yung main implementor. Tapos yung si Matubato, ito yung talagang mga street assassins. Ito yung mga pumapatay. Kaya, ang maganda dun sa kanilang kaso, na-corroborate ni Matubato yung testimony ni Las Cañas. So, kung mag-isa lang kasi si Las Cañas, sino nagko-corroborate? Ito may nagko-corroborate na talagang tumira.
Okay, but this would still be relatively low level, Ronald, no?
Yes.
So you probably need somebody at a higher level, maybe a general, to be able to
Hindi,
establish
yun yung
the
ito
chain of
yung-
command upstairs.
Actually, yes and no, dahil makakadagdag yon doon sa kaso. Pero sa ngayon, ang tingin ko, the case is already strong.
Even
Nasa final stages.
even with the
Even without a general testifying. No?
Okay.
Pero itong 5 suspects na to, apart from, the 3, yung below General Bato and General Albayalde, mga general na rin to except the National Police Commissioner, nag-retire yung colonel eh.
Yes.
Pero itong si General Mata, he's now the Northern Luzon, si ano pala, yung isa Northern Luzon Commander ngayon, and yung isa is the head of the Drug Enforcement Group ng PNP. Both of them are now generals. Kapag sila ang nagsalita, medyo lalakas yung kasi. Remember, this is not just murder, it's murder as a crime against humanity. Ang akusasyon sa kanila, sila yung paymaster, saka sila yung nagbibigay ng reward. Yan yung importante dyan.
Yes.
Na it's systematic, state-sponsored systematic killing of suspects. Meaning, hindi inosente pa sila until proven guilty, di ba?
Mahalaga
Yan ang
yung-
napaka-importante doon.
mahalaga yung sinabi ni Ami, systematic.
Pag nagsalita sila, napakalaking ebidensya yan na meron ng crime against humanity.
So
Yan.
you were mentioned, operative word dito is systematic.
Systematic.
Oo.
Yun yung isang
Yes.
element ng crimes against humanity. So hindi siya just individual cases of murder and assassination. It's a systematic effort at mahalaga yung state-sponsored.
Goes all the way to the top. Parang ganon. Okay.
Yun yung sinasabi ni Solicitor General Menardo Guevara na nahihirapan daw silang i-prove yung systematic, yung pagka-systematic ng mga pagpatay. Yun ang sabi niya ha. Kasi ang approach nila piecemeal eh. Sabi niya, kailangan mag-establish kaming enough numbers of EJKs bago mo sabihin na may crime against humanity. Because we have an offense na crime against humanity in our statute eh. Meron tayong ganong offense dito sa Pilipinas. Tinanong na namin siya, bakit hindi nyo mapailan si President Duterte? Dahil yun ang inaakusa sa kanya, hindi lang naman plain murder. Sabi niya, kailangan nga daw na enough numbers of EJKs para ka makapagbuo ng charge na crime against humanity. Iba yung ginawang approach ng ICC.
Pero yun ang sinasabi amin ni Senator Trillanes. Mahirap na si Soljan Guevara ang gagawa nun. Dahil siya yung Secretary of Justice nung panahon ni Digong. So, yun yung magiging problema niya. Na, bakit niya
Although hindi
papatunayan
siya
yung
kasi
systematic
last na siya
state-sponsored crimes against humanity kung siya ang Secretary of Justice when all of this is happening? Yun yung banat naman.
Nung panahon niya, doon nag-umpisa yung investigation actually na in-order ni Digong.
Also.
He actually ordered Nagpa-imbestiga siya dahil umiinit na nga. Nagpa-imbestiga siya. Yun na yung time ni Menardo Guevara. So ang nababanggit na Justice Secretary dito sa case na to is Vitaliano Aguirre the first. Justice Secretary of Digong. Actually, although hindi natin naririnig ang pangalan niya ngayon.
Kasama siya sa kaso, si Secretary Aguirre.
Kasama siya sa iniimbestigahan.
Yes, kasama siya dun sa
Yes,
listahan.
iniimbestigahan.
Kasama ba siya sa kakausapin din? Gusto kausapin ng ICC?
Hindi.
Hindi. Okay.
Wala pa siya, wala pa, di ba? By batches naman, di ba, sabi ng ICC lawyer sa atin, na by
Tsaka
batches siyang dadating.
Tsaka si Secretary Guevara, yung nakakuha ng almost 1 year na space para sabihin na, teka, hintayin nyo muna para patunayan namin na hindi gumagana yung aming justice system. Eh sabi ng ICC after 1 year, hindi nga gumagana. wala namang naparusahan na doon sa libo-libo.
Ang sabi naman niya,
wala nakasuhan.
sinagot din nila, in-explain din yan ni, ni etong administrasyon na to, kasi medyo matindi pressure sa Marcos administration dahil hindi naman sila involved. Di ba yan din nag-explanation ni Crispin Remulla, Justice Secretary Crispin Remulla, na ang hirap-hirap nga daw kumuha ng witness. Hindi ka pareho sa ICC, medyo mas willing yung mga tao eh. Dito natatakot na pumunta sa gobyerno, even if it's a new administration, kaya daw hindi sila makakuha. In fact, nagtawag pa nga si Justice Remulla nung guest namin noon na nagtawag siya sa mga pulis na we will protect you if you come out and testify. Mukhang wala sumagot
Kaya nga si Senator
mas gusto ng mga
Trillanes,
tao magpunta sa ICC, mas gusto ng mga tao, although you cannot blame them, no?
Kaya si Senator Trillanes is calling for the resignation of Solgen Guevara. Dahil siya yung Secretary of Justice while most of this is happening. No?
Okay.
Kaya at the very minimum ay may kaunting culpability. Kaya yun ang hinihingi ni Senator Trillanes.
Okay, Ronald Ami, let's shift to another issue. This time we have as our resource UP Professor Shelo Magno. She will be joining us to talk about this case that they have filed with the Supreme Court regarding the use of PhilHealth funds. Professor Magno.
Hi, good afternoon po sa inyong lahat.
Magandang hapon, Yusek Shelo.
Okay,
Good afternoon po.
Professor Magno, anong nature ng case na ito?
Yes.
Yes.
Opo. Nag-file po tayo ng kaso questioning the constitutionality noong department order na inisyu ng Department of Finance, pati na rin po yung provision na nakalagay sa General Appropriations Act mandating the Department of Finance to get the fund balances of the GOCCs. Ang tinatanong po natin dito ay yung constitutionality ng mga provisions at order na to.
Okay, Professor Magno, what is the main argument of your group?
Opo. So malinaw po sa Constitution natin, may provision po dyan prohibiting riders sa mga batas. That's one. Ang pangalawang argument din po natin ay kung inilagay ito sa General Appropriations Act, does it imply that it's amending existing laws governing GOCC, including the Universal Healthcare Law, which provides for very specific uses of PhilHealth funds. So yun po yung pangunahing argumento. Sinasite din po natin ang mga previous court decisions ng Supreme Court saying na ang General Appropriations Act cannot amend existing laws. So yun po yung batayan ng ating argument.
Professor Magno, I understand that the administration or the Department of Finance is arguing that what they're taking back are the subsidies from the national government and not the contributions of PhilHealth members.
Yes, Yusek Magno, just 2 days ago, sinubukang sagutin ni Secretary Recto at yung head ng PhilHealth yung mga arguments nyo. Meron ba kayong sagot doon sa kanilang mga sagot?
Yes po. So yung subsidy po na yan ay yung katumbas naman na premium ng mga indirect contributors natin. Alam niyo po, may dalawang klase na enroll sa PhilHealth. No? Yung isa ay yung mga manggagawa na nagbabayad ng kontribusyon. At yung the rest naman ay yung mga hindi makapagbayad ng kontribusyon, kasama na yung mga senior citizens natin. At yun pong mga indirect contributors niyan, ang premium nila ay nanggagaling sa subsidy ng gobyerno. So, whether that subsidy or that direct payment of members of PhilHealth, lahat po tayo, pagpasok ng pondo na yan, ay isang fund na lang po yan ng PhilHealth na malinaw sa batas ay may dalawang purpose lang. Either one, palawakin yung benepisyo natin, or two, ibaba ang premium na binabayaran natin.
Okay, Professor Magno, the Finance Secretary, Secretary Recto, frames it this way. Either you leave the money in PhilHealth, where it just sits and sleeps now, or you reallocate it so it can create jobs and stimulate the economy. I think the number that he cited was 600,000 jobs. So, given these trade-offs, no, Professor Magno, can you make a comment on that?
Yes, I also have two messages to Secretary Recto. Either one, actually it's not an option. Number one, please improve the efficiency of PhilHealth, because the job of the executive is to make sure that PhilHealth does its mandate of providing us comprehensive health insurance. That's one. And number two, please improve our fiscal management, because the reason why we have this problem is that Congress bloated our national budget, and now they're scrambling to find money to finance this bloated budget. So, since he's the Department of Finance, I think it is his primary responsibility to make sure that we have good fiscal management and we avoid bloating the budget, so that we can avoid having this problems of resorting to getting DOCC money to finance unprogrammed funds.
Yusek?
Professor, apart from challenging the constitutionality of the circular and yung riders sa GAA, ano pa yung pleading nyo? Ano pa yung gusto nyo mangyari in your petition?
Yun po yung very specific na hiling natin sa Supreme Court. Pero may dalawang hiling din po tayo sa two branches of our government. No? For the, na-mention ko na po yung sa executive, let's improve our fiscal management. And number two, broaden the coverage of PhilHealth. Please include outpatient benefit na po kung ganyan naman pala karami ang pera ng PhilHealth. That's one. Yung pangalawang panawagan po natin sa legislature, I think it's about time that we improve transparency in the legislation process. Yung lahat po na to ang pinag-ugatan talaga ay yung problema ng bicameral branch natin. Hindi po ba? Yung opaqueness, so wala ng transparency kung paano na-finalize itong budget natin. At ngayong budget season na naman, sana po dapat naka-live stream na yung bicam na yan. May malinaw na transcript. Para nabibilig natin yung mga congressman at senador natin at yung mga arguments nila at nakikita natin kung anong ginagawa nila sa pera ng bayan. So yun po ang panawagan natin.
Covered ba yun ng petition? Covered ba ng petition niya yan, yung bicameral process?
Hindi po. Ibang panawagan niya po yan. Diretso pong panawagan natin kay Speaker at kay Senate President na magkaroon ng malinaw na rules of engagement sa bicameral. Sa Supreme Court po, talagang limited lang po sa constitutionality noong GAA provision at nung Department of Finance order.
Yusek, nakalagay sa statement nyo na isa sa layunin nyo ay gamitin itong pondo to expand health packages para sa mga outpatient at saka inpatient from primary to tertiary. Can you explain in layman's term para sa ating audience, ano yung ibig sabihin nun na from primary to tertiary?
Opo, sa kasalukuyan po kasi ang coverage ng PhilHealth natin, karamihan ay kailangan pa natin ma-hospital bago natin ito mapakinabangan. Kung may outpatient coverage naman po, ito po ay yung halimbawa mga gamot na gagamitin natin kapag na-discharge na tayo sa hospital. Ang hinihiling po natin ay makasama na sa benepisyo ng PhilHealth yung outpatient coverage. Yung pwede po tayong magpa-check up, hindi na natin kailangan na hospital bago natin mapakinabangan ang PhilHealth benefits. Kasi napakahalaga din po ng preventive care. Lang sana matutukan na. At kasama rin po yan sa mandato ng PhilHealth na naaayon sa batas. So kung may ganong sobrang pera, dapat po sinasama na yan ng PhilHealth sa benepisyo na ibinibigay nila sa ating mga miyembro nito.
Yusek, nakita ko sa listahan nung nag-file ng kaso ay mga health groups katulad ng Likhaan, mga NGOs at mga trade unions from public and private sectors, PS-Link at saka Sentro. These are big trade union organizations. Open pa ba kayo na na maraming sumama? Kung ba yan? Exclusive ba yan? Or very open pa kayo na ibang mga sectoral groups and NGOs and individuals ay sumama dyan sa inyo?
Opo, nakasama din po natin si Senator Coco Pimentel as petitioner. At wini-welcome po natin kung may mga iba pang petitioner sa gustong magsampa ng petition sa Supreme Court. Minarapat lang po natin na i-file na ito ngayon para matugunan agad yung issue dahil kasama po sa pleading natin ay yung mag-issue ng TRO ang Supreme Court para mapigilan na yung pag-transfer pa ng ibang pondo. Kasi sa kasalukuyan po, 20 billion pa lang ang nakukuha ng Department of Finance. So yung remaining 69.9 billion ay hindi pa nakukuha. Kaya po may kasamang TRO at minarapat nating madaliin yung pag-file ng petition na ito. But of course, wala pong pumipigil para sa mga ibang sektor pa para mag-file din ng similar petition.
Okay, Professor Shelo Magno, maraming salamat sa inyong oras.
Maraming salamat,
Thank
Yusek.
you,
Maraming
Professor.
salamat po. Thank you.
Amy Ronald, our next resource is the Secretary of the Department of Public Works and Highways, Secretary Manuel Bonoan. Good afternoon, Mr. Secretary.
Good afternoon, Secretary. Salamat sa
Good afternoon, Secretary.
pagpaulak sa aming imbitasyon.
Ma'am. Good afternoon po. Good afternoon po. Good afternoon po sa ating lahat at sa ating mga bye-bye.
Okay, Secretary Bonoan, headline po kayo ng maraming balita dahil dito sa balita ito na sinabi daw nyo na walang master plan sa flood control ang ating gobyerno.
I think, I want to put that into proper perspective po. I think I was a little misquoted in the discussions about the master plan. No? When I was asked kasi kung if there is a one master plan for the whole country sa flood control management program, I said there is none because these are all yung master plan is very specific for the 18 major river basins all over the country. There is one master plan for each river basin. Yeah, so that's what I was saying at the time. So I was siguro pick up na tinanong po kasi ako that there is one single master plan for the whole country, and I said there is none because all these are actually under 18 major river basins of the country po.
Okay.
Secretary, may mga binanggit din kasi kayo na kasama nung statement na yon. Sabi nyo, these are stand-alone projects to provide immediate relief and protection to low-lying areas. At itong 5,500 completed flood control project were just small-scale remedies na kasama dun sa sinabi nyo about kakulangan ng master plan. So, tatanong yung mga tao...
No, hindi po.
Yeah.
Hindi po. No. Again, this is a misunderstanding siguro. I said there is a master plan that we are undertaking actually. In the meantime, that we are actually preparing for yung mga projects under the master plan, there are urgent projects that we need to implement right away to yung for immediate protection of low-lying areas along the river banks all over the country.
Pero,
kasi yung gestation period for flood control projects under the master plan will take some time.
yes, pero Secretary, di ba masyadong marami yung libo-libong flood control project? Di ba kinakailangan ay isang centralized flood control project lang? Halimbawa for drainage, water impounding, waste management. Dapat, di ba, integrated yan at isa? Hindi pwedeng bawat lugar may sarili?
Hindi po. Hindi. For each region kasi, for each river basin, yung requirements in Metro Manila will not be the same as the flood control requirements in let's say, in Mindanao.
Yes.
So, they have to have separate master plans po.
Yes, pero halimbawa, Secretary, sa National Capital Region, may isa ba tayong
Yes, po.
flood control project for waste management, drainage, water impounding, no, spillway, etc.?
Yes po. Yes po. Yes. These are all incorporated in the master plan for Metro Manila po.
Nasaan po yun, Secretary?
This is actually a master plan that was formulated in 2012 under the World Bank Assisted Program. And this is the program that has been being implemented and which we continued under this administration po.
Okay.
So it's more than 12
Secretary,
years.
parang nababagalan yung mga tao sa results, ano? Siguro sa implementation, sa results. Saan po ba tayo
Yes,
nagkakaproblema? Sino ba ang mga, apart from the DPWH, which agencies are involved in the implementation? Kasama ba yung LGU? May say ba dyan ng mga politiko like congressmen, for example?
Hindi po. Well, maraming pong components, multi-sectoral po kasi. These are multi-sectoral components. The engineering interventions, engineering interventions is being handled by the DPWH.
Right.
Yung local,
Yes.
yung local infra and other things, yung waste management, internal drainage are with MMDA and the local government.
Local.
Oh.
And
Yes.
yung watershed management is with DENR. And yung socio-political issues actually nasa LGUs po. There is a big component that it should be handled by the LGUs. Yung engineering components actually are being handled by DPWH po.
I understand, Mr.
Sa tingin
Secretary,
niyo po,
it doesn't
etong
stop with
is the system working? You think the system
Yes,
is
I
working?
think
Kasi
so.
sinasabi
Yes,
ni
yes,
Ronald
yes.
yung parang hindi siya integrated. Sa tingin nyo, it could use some enhancement by way of coordination or integration or whatever term you want to describe it. Hindi ba parang medyo nagkakagulo kapag ganyan?
Well, hindi pa. Kasi ang DPWH naman siguro cannot be made responsible for yung mga waste management. Actually, it's actually the local naman siguro na sa local government units or MMDA, Metro Manila po. And but they all know about this master plan. I think they are all aware of this master plan. MMDA is aware of this master plan po.
Mr. Secretary Baron, I understand you've been with the department for some time now, not just with
Yes,
this
po.
administration. So I guess what you're trying to tell us now is that flood control, especially if we're talking from master plan, does not just involve DPWH. There's LGU, there's MMDA in local government units, MMDA for
Yes,
Metro Manila. Ano pa ba? Meron pa rin ata dyan, national irrigation and those handling the dams.
The irrigation is another component po yan actually. Flood control, irrigation sometimes come into the picture if
Right.
there are dams that can be built for flood control and partly for irrigation purposes po.
Yun nga yung tanong ko, Secretary. Halimbawa, waste management. Ano ba yung highlight ng ating waste management? Dahil kung failure yung waste management, failure yung flood control. Halimbawa, ano ba yung ating water impounding key result area? Nasaan ba yung pupunta yung ating tubig baha? Halimbawa, sa Japan, 60% ng kanilang rainwater pumupunta sa water impounding. Tayo ba, ilan ba yung pumupunta sa ating water impounding kung meron?
Do we have such a
This is
system?
one of the components that this is one of the components that has been incorporated in the master plan for Metro Manila into yung sa 2012 master plan. Now, ang pan po nito is actually we will under that master plan, the Department of Public Works and Highways will be constructing the Marikina Dam.
Okay. So kasama rin
It will be, yes, kasama po dun sa master plan. Unfortunately, it has not been implemented over the years. So, under this administration
Bakit
po, we are now trying to look into the implementation of the Marikina Dam.
Di ba, Secretary?
Bakit hindi siya na-implement? Medyo matagal na yun, 2012.
Tsaka dagdag lang sa tanong ni Ami, Secretary, yung dam ba sa Marikina, dahil Marikina yung isa sa pinaka worst affected nitong mga floods. Kasama ba dyan yung watershed? Dahil kung hindi maaayos yung watershed,
Yes po.
patuloy na babaha yung silt.
Yes po, I think the watershed management is part of the master plan.
So going back to Ami's question, Secretary, bakit hindi po tayo umuusad doon sa plano na magkaroon ng dam dyan sa May Marikina? 2012 pa to. Oh.
There are many reasons so siguro dito, but I can only say what we are doing now under this administration po. Because we have specific instructions from the President that we have to see to it that we have to implement yung master plan holistically and integrated basis. So, ito ho, yung ang sabi nga niya, I think instead of just allowing the flood waters from the watershed in the Sierra Madre Mountains, why don't you impound initially the flood waters in the watershed para hindi kagad bumaba. That is why we need the Marikina Dam po.
Ano pong susi dito, Secretary Bunuan?
Yung pinakamalaking yun yung siguro can give us an idea kung ano yung pinakamalaking dahilan kung bakit hindi pa matuloy yung dam. Ano ba yung right of way issue ba yan?
Pera,
LGU. I can only surmise. No? Ma'am, I can only surmise actually what happened. Actually because yung site of the proposed Marikina Dam, meron ho yung water supply dam that was constructed on the site. So yung water supply dam that is in the Wawa Dam. Wawa Dam yung tinatawag na yung Wawa Dam. Na for water supply, it's not for flood flood storage dam. So we have to relocate yung flood mitigating dams somewhere else that will be on top of the existing of the newly constructed Wawa Dam na po.
Secretary, merong elephant in the room Yung hindi na kinakailangan gumawa ng dam, the Laguna Lake, the biggest water basin in the country and perhaps in Southeast Asia. Ano po ang plano dyan?
Yes po.
Ano po plano sa Laguna Lake?
Yes, this will be components. No? This will be an integral component. Merong dam, and then there will be excess water, flood waters that will still come down. Now, this excess water will have to be diverted to Laguna Lake. We will now be constructing yung Manggahan floodgate para during flood season we can divert some of the flood waters to Laguna Lake. And at some point in time when mababa yung Manila Bay, we can discharge again to Manila Bay. Magiging storage ng Laguna Lake.
Pero Secretary,
hindi ba kayo magkakaproblema niyan? Kasi alam nyo, all over Laguna de Bay, katakot-takot ng reclamation activities ngayon Hindi ba kayo magkakaproblema niyan? Hindi siya nade-dredge, dumadami yung...
May reclamation activities ba sa Laguna Lake po?
Yes. Along C6, tingnan nyo. From Taguig to Tanay. Ang dami-dami, napakalaki. Saka parami yung mga fish pens na mukhang hindi yata na-regulate ng maayos. At nagdadagdagan daw yung siltation, kaya yung level ng water actually sa lake bumababa. Kaya yung mga palipaligid nila ngayon, halimbawa in Muntinlupa, meron diyang mga parte na kapag nagbaha, 3 months ayaw bumaba yung tubig because of the reclamation.
Dagdag lang sa tanong ni Ami, Secretary. Dagdag lang sa tanong niya. Dahil halimbawa, nung panahon ni Pinoy, binana yung mga fish pen na yan dahil nga sa problema. So anong status ng pag-ban ng mga fish pen? At saka yung dredging, at saka yung dike. Paano kahit kasi pag pupunta yung tubig baha sa Laguna Lake na mababa na, kung walang dredging, edi aapaw yon. Kaya kinakailangan i-dredge at saka lagyan ng dike at saka yung spillway na sinasabi nyo, dati napindan yan
Paranaque spillway.
Dati napindan, pero puro squatter na dyan, puro bahay na.
Maraming magre-reklamo yung Paranaque spillway na yan, diba, Sec?
Para puro bahay na yan. So
I guess, Sec, ang problema dito, it goes back. Ronald, LGU, local governments.
Yes, pero
you have to deal with the local governments.
Diba, Secretary, kasama sa master plan yan?
Kasama po yung spillway, yung Parañaque Spillway po. But there is already a design. There is already a design prepared for the Parañaque Spillway.
Right.
And it has been designed and located in an alignment na it will have minimum disturbance to the populated areas. So.
Okay, so there shouldn't be any problem, Secretary Bono. Pero bakit matagal ko na naririnig yung panahon ni Secretary, ni President Arroyo? So bakit hindi po natutuloy?
Well,
Pera ba ho? Or is it LGU concerns again when you run into opposition from local politicians
Yes,
who have their own interests and all that?
All of the
I
above.
think these are some of the problems po.
Yeah.
Pero Secretary, kailan yung nakikita yung mitigation nitong flood? Based dito sa mga ginagawa. Dahil ang laki kasi ng mga budget sa flood control, pero parang very minimal ang output.
Hindi naman po. Kasi I think ang sinasabi natin, there are many rivers throughout the country. There are more than 400, I think 421 principal rivers all over the country, and there are thousands of small rivers feeding into these principal rivers. And because it takes some time to implement all the master plan in each of the river basins, kailangan din naman natin siguro na I think we have to attend to yung immediate requirements to put infrastructure interventions to protect yung low-lying areas in many parts of the country now. But that's why we need actually all this budget.
Kaya,
Secretary, sa Metro Manila,
Yes.
merong nagsasabi, Secretary, sa Manila daw, dapat daw yatang ibalik na uli sa DPWH yung flood control from MMDA. What do you think of that?
Well, we don't mind. We don't mind po siguro, but it's in their charter kasi, the charter of MMDA specifically mentions that it is their responsibility. It is the responsibility of MMDA.
Oh.
So it's in their charter, and that is why sometime in 2002 yata yan, when I was still here in the department, na-transfer po natin yung responsibility to MMDA.
Yes.
Na-transfer po natin yan. Now, I think if you will notice naman, because of the initial engineering interventions that have been made in accordance with the master plan, I think nung Ondoy in 2009, the flood waters in Metro Manila lasted 4 weeks. Mahaba yan. Now, yung flood waters under nitong kay Karina phenomenon, I think in a few days nag-recede po yung water. And one thing more, hindi ho nag-overtop ang ng Pasig River and Marikina River.
Secretary, nabanggit niyo yung mga rivers natin tsaka other waterways na kasama sa problema dito sa flood control. At isang element ng problema sa mga rivers and waterways ay pollution at saka mga waste. So, yun, balik ko sa tanong, Secretary, ano ba yung highlight ng ating waste management ngayon? Dahil wala akong nakikita na master plan sa waste management. Ang dami pa ring waste eh. Meron ba tayong highlight na pwedeng sabihin? Saan ba mapunta yung ating waste management?
Well, this is an area where the MMDA and LGU will attend to under the master plan program po in Metro Manila.
Well, we all know, Ronald, Ami, no?
Yes.
Garbage collection is LGU.
Yung garbage disposal. And I think it is a matter of actually, mga kababayan naman natin have to be educated about disposal of waste.
Yes, kaya malaki yung role ng government, Secretary, dahil hindi alam ng mga tao natin yung segregation eh. At hindi ganun karami yung mga opportunities para i-segregate nila. So malaki yung role ng government, ng national government, para ma-educate at mabigyan ng opportunity yung ating mamamayan to segregate waste. Pero saan pupunta? Kung landfill kasi, alam naman natin na yung landfill ay wala namang solusyon. Nakakadagdag sila sa problema.
Yeah, but Ronald,
meron ba tayong master plan for incineration, halimbawa?
Bawal ang incineration.
Hindi, kanya nga. Merong iba't ibang klase
bawal.
May iba't ibang klase ng incineration ngayon eh. May iba't ibang klase.
They still have to amend the law.
Pero may batas pa tayo
May batas pa.
And then, so dapat sa master
clean
plan, kasama ang legislation.
But is waste management part of DPWH, Mr. Secretary? Kasi alam ko yung
Hindi po.
garbage collection sa amin, mayor yan eh. Kaya every time may bagong mayor, bago yung collector ng basura. Alam naman natin yan.
Kaya balik tayo sa problema, Secretary,
Yun.
kung anarchic at walang cluster ng government agencies na nag-aayos niyan, edi ganyan pa rin yung mangyayari sa atin.
Local government code, babalik tayo doon. Devolution. Devolution.
Meron naman po. I think we also have to rely dun sa local governance. Sa local governance naman po. And kagaya dito sa Metro Manila, there is the Metropolitan Development Authority actually who is in charge dun sa coordinative ng mga local governments to attend to yung mga problems like garbage disposal, waste management. And the other thing is, ang problema lang po kasi dito sa Metro Manila now that I can see is actually the internal drainage system of Metro Manila is needs a total rehabilitation because this was installed more than 50 years ago and it's only 30% efficient na po.
Iba pa yan.
It is exacerbated because of yung pagtapon ng mga basura.
Alright. And on top of that, Secretary. Go ahead, Secretary. Go ahead, Mr. Secretary.
The internal drainage, the internal drainage of Metro Manila is not adequate anymore. So, every rainfall, naiipon pa rin yung water. It cannot be conveyed efficiently to the pumping stations because yung drainage system is not adequate, exacerbated by mga waste, mga basura. So, yun po yung mga problema. So, although sa amin po, we are now helping MMDA para i-rehabilitate yung mga old pumping stations to increase their output capacities.
Okay, maraming salamat.
Di ba po yung drainage sa inyo yun? Hindi ba sa inyo yung drainage?
Di ba, tama
hindi ba?
Tama yung sabi nyo, Secretary, no? Tama yung sabi nyo na malaki yung problema dito.
Kanino yung drainage? Kanino yung drainage?
Metro Manila po rin yun.
MMDA pa rin. Okay.
Yes po.
Katulad nito ang nabanggit nyo.
Ang amin lang po ay sa Pasig Marikina River.
Katulad nitong nabanggit nyo, Secretary, no? Itong nakikita natin sa local government, mga buong kama, refrigerator, nagfo-float sa ilog, papunta sa mga waterways, no? Ibig sabihin, something has to give, ha?
Ronald, we have very old sewerage system. Metro Manila is probably one of the densest cities on the planet. And Manila, the city of Manila itself, is the most densely populated city in the world. So that's a fact. So talagang and we're seeing floods in Korea, in Dubai, which is a desert. So naghalo-halo na. I think medyo kailangan talaga mag-adapt na rin ng mabilis yung gobyerno to fix our infrastructure. But having said that, maraming salamat, Secretary Bonoan, for joining us.
Secretary.
Thank you, Secretary.
One last point lang po.
Go ahead, Mr. Secretary.
Okay.
I think, sabi ko, I just have to emphasize that we have a master plan for each of the river basins. And yung problems in Metro Manila is not unique in Metro Manila because there are also many urban cities, urban areas now suffering the same problems like Davao, Cebu, Negros. Ito na rin po yung emerging problems nila. How actually they are addressing yung flooding problems in the cities as well. Well, anyway, thank you for the opportunity po and thank you.
Maraming salamat, Secretary Bonoan.
Secretary.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, thank you for joining the StoryCon today. Ami Pamintuan, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star, and Ronald Llamas, our resident political pundit. Join us again on Monday at 4 p.m. for the Story Conference. I'm Patrick Paez. We are One News, all sides, all the time. This is the Story Conference Group or the StoryCon Group.